some jaw going back and forth. The bench is clear.
And it looks like it has something to do with Baker, and is it Teoscar Hernandez being held back?
Boy, did that ever escalate quickly.
And Teoscar is heated.
It just speaks to the intensity of his ball game.
Every time he pitched against us, he just tried to make a show. I think our guys were standing up for our own team.
Alek Manoah, he's looking out at the Orioles. He is watching them celebrate this win here tonight. I tell you what, Tabby, he is starting to get himself fired up right now.
Is Manoah old school? Oh, yeah. Oh, he's old school.
He has been brilliant again.
Guy just knows how to win. It's hard to not like the way he competes.
And he got a fastball right down the middle.
Manoah is fired up.
This September stretch is anything but boring as we get set for a matchup tonight that has a degree of intensity, not among fans, as you can see, but certainly among those on the field as the Blue Jays and Orioles finish up this 4-game series. Alek Manoah on the hill. You saw that shot of him at the end of last night's game, staring out to the celebrating Orioles. This should be a fun one. So glad you've joined us here on Blue Jay Central. I'm Jamie Campbell with Joe Siddall, who's going to assess the home plate collision rule a little later on Blue Jay Central. But there's lots to get to first. For a guy who throws 100 miles an hour and has a career ERA over 4, Brian Baker is apparently a man who thoroughly digs himself. How else to explain him following Teoscar Hernandez on a double play ground ball and then inciting the Blue Jays to come off the bench and challenge them? That was the scene a night ago as the Blue Jays lost the third of this 4-game series. You saw the manager get ejected. Tampa Bay and Boston just getting underway. We'll keep you apprised of that game as we go. Seattle is hosting Chicago as we speak and losing, so things are ever changing in the wild card race, and it's been fascinating to watch, and we'll get more and more. Do you get the impression, Joe, as we look ahead to tonight's game, that this is the most important game of the year?
I'll never say that, Jimmy, unless it's the last game and you're down one. But this is a pretty big game, and I think it's more about the emotional element. What we saw last night, it felt like a postseason game, and when it really struck me, it was around the 4th inning because we've got two teams fighting for a playoff spot right here. The Orioles, of course, are the ones chasing, but Brandon Hyde went to his high-leverage reliever, Dylan Tate, a late-inning guy in the 4th inning of this game. This is stuff you see in the middle of October, and we've covered a lot of playoffs. This is how playoff baseball works, but Tate came in. It was a critical time, and then John Schneider finally erupted on Jeff Nelson. Now, this precipitated, I think, earlier on Monday with the Kevin Gausman balk, of course. He gets ejected. But then it was the Brian Baker show, and obviously there's been a little bit of a history here between Blue Jays players. He's a former Blue Jay himself, Baker. He knows these guys, but we've seen instances of him looking around, staring at guys, and then at the end, how fitting is this? Alek Manoah, zero focused in on that celebration. And I think what he is doing looking there, this was just my perception. Alek Manoah is a pretty darn competitive guy. I think he's looking out there saying, that will be our team tomorrow night, shaking hands and high-fiving right around this time. He knows he has a responsibility. His responsibility is to go out there and throw a gem tonight and take 3 out of 4 from the Orioles and distance themselves a little more.
Arash Madani sits right near the Blue Jays dugout, so I am sure he heard words last night that he's still trying to decipher. Let's send it to him as we get set for the final game of the series. Arash?
Oh, Jamie, I decipher them in the moment live. Don't you worry about that. It got very spicy down here last night, and it was very intriguing when we walked into the Blue Jays locker room last night. I mean, in the clubhouse around Bo Bichette and Kevin Biggio, Santiago Espinal, Jordan Romano, Danny Jansen. I mean, 5 longtime players in the organization. They were kind of talking to Matt Chapman about Brian Baker. Remember, Baker was in the organization from 2018 up until last year, as Joe talked about, got with the big club last season, pitched in September. And some of the newcomers to the team were just wondering, what's the deal with that guy? Teoscar Hernandez said, I thought we were cool. said, I guess not. And Vladimir Guerrero Jr., he had the line of all lines when he said, what does that guy think? He's a superhero or something? After a night to sleep on it, the dust has settled. From the Blue Jays standpoint, they don't expect any more fireworks tonight. It may have to do something with the fact that Baker pitched on back-to-back days, so he's probably not available tonight.
No, there's an understanding. I think last night, all parties probably wish it unfolded a little bit differently. And, it's two teams playing for a lot, and it's September baseball. It's a team in your division. I don't think anything needs to be said. The guys are ready to go tonight.
Sometimes it's good for a team to go through something like that. So, I'm actually hoping that it kind of gives us another motivation to kind of go out today and do what needs to be done. Just bring us together, I think, more than anything. You kind of feel that each guy is in your corner when something like that happens. I know Chappie probably feels like we're all willing to fight for him, and it wouldn't have mattered who was hitting. Anybody who does something like that, you're going to get a reaction. And so I thought it was good for us. It kind of got everybody fired up, and hopefully it keeps us, gets us even closer as a team.
It's going to be a ton of fun when the Orioles come to Rogers Center next weekend as the sequel to this series unfolds then. Here's Arden Zwelling from Sportsnet.ca. Look, Brandon Hyde, the Orioles manager, said today, I'm not trying to show up anyone. And the point he made was, these are two young teams who are on the rise, who are going to be doing this for quite some time. The Blue Jays are saying this isn't a rivalry. Brandon Hyde saying this might be the start of one. But I think John Schneider's main point that he made to us today is that we don't want any extracurriculars today.
And I think he's hopeful it's going to stay in yesterday's game and that there won't be any carryover here tonight. Look, both these teams are playing for something, and John Schneider's confident that his players are going to leave that in the past and come out and compete today. But it will be interesting to watch the home plate conference before this this game, because John Schneider will be taking out the lineup card, and he doesn't always do that. It's often a bench coach, a position player coach, but Schneider's going to take it out because he wants to make sure there are no warnings issued by the umpires ahead of this game. He wants the umpires to leave it in yesterday as well, because if there are warnings, that removes some elements for Alek Manoah. Think about how important it is for him to pitch inside, especially that sinker to right-handers. We're talking about a guy who leads the American League in hits by pitch, so watch that home plate conference. Blue Jays hoping there's no warnings issued ahead of this one.
Just looking over my left shoulder, there's no Audi sign between the dugout and the mound. Schneider said it would be unfortunate if there were any warnings issued. It was an unfortunate start for Mitch White yesterday. The third inning got away from him, and the Blue Jays optioned him down today. That does not mean that his head is on a platter like so many people had been wanting last night. Mitch White is going to pitch again on Tuesday. It's a doubleheader against Tampa at home. He'll be activated as the 29th man. The team is going to need him for innings. And you and I had a chance to visit with him for quite a while today, and what became very clear is that this is not a mechanic issue. Rather, it's a mindset thing.
Yeah, it's the mentality for Mitch White. He feels like he's attacking early in counts, but then he gets to 2 strikes and he feels like his mentality changes. He doesn't carry over that same mindset. He doesn't trust his fastball in those situations. Starts throwing too many sliders, too many breaking balls. Hitters get comfortable. They start fouling them off, leaning over and flicking them away. It's part of the reason why he talked to Kevin Gausman, because remember what he said to us. Gausman's fastball is in the zone, quote, so much. And that's something that Mitch White wants to do. He wants to use his fastball in the zone with 2 strikes. He wants to attack. He doesn't want to be in these 6, 7, and 8 pitch battles with hitters. So he understands what he has to change. He understands that this stuff is good. He understands it's a mentality. He's going to try to carry that into Tuesday's outing.
It was White who approached Gausman today, said it's time. It's time to talk this through with somebody, because Gausman's somebody whose fastball remains in the zone so much. Wanted to pick his brain. Gausman said today, I don't have to say anything to Alek Manoah coming into this start. Not about the emotion, not about the stakes, not about anything that may spill over. And Alek Manoah is lined up to face only AL East opponents the rest of the way. The Blue Jays will have him tonight, and then it's going to be again against Tampa, and then on it goes. Orioles and Yankees from there. And Manoah said, that's what I want in September, to be pitching these key division games in a playoff push.
And the Blue Jays are prioritizing things in their rotation to set up Manoah for those games. They might bring him back on Monday on normal rest, despite having that off day in there. So that, like you said, would line him up for Tampa, Baltimore, New York, maybe Baltimore again in that final series of the season. It says something about the trust the Blue Jays have in Manoah in those spots. It says something about Manoah's competitiveness as well, because there's nowhere he would rather be right now than pitching in these really important games against big AL East rivals.
Won't be here tonight? Teoscar Hernandez, not because of injury, but rather family commitments. Officially, he's on the bereavement list. Teoscar and his wife Jennifer expecting child number 3. There are 2 brothers who are about to become siblings also. A great moment for the Hernandez family. Jamie, the Blue Jays expect him back in the lineup Saturday in Texas.
All right, gentlemen, congratulations to Teoscar and his wife. And let's look ahead to this one. There was a late change to who was starting for Baltimore. So it's Tyler Wells now, who stands 6'8", weighs about 250 pounds, so a couple of big boys on the mound. He was activated from the IL after suffering an oblique injury in July. The Orioles are not expecting more than 2 to 3 innings from him. And we're expecting Alek Manoah to be at least comfortable with the idea that imitation is the sincerest form of flattery, Joe?
She's right on.
She is definitely on. All right.